Good afternoon, and thank you for joining the Certified Safety webinar today. Joining us from Certified Safety is Danny Gregory, National Sales Manager from Certified Safety. As a reminder, Certified Safety is our OE supplier and also supporting in parts and service. They have been a supplier for over 20 years to Bluebird on both sides. They are actually one of the original dropship suppliers on parts and service. They are best known for supplying our first aid and body fluid kits, but they do have a number of other serviceable items that we would like to take the time and remind you of and introduce you to this afternoon. With that, I'm going to turn everything over to Danny today. And Danny, welcome, and we appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. As Tina said, we've been working with Bluebird for over 20 years, and primarily providing you guys with the school bus kits and body fluid kits that go on all of the buses. But we actually offer a full line of first aid supplies that are also good for other types of school applications, as well as shops and construction sites. Literally anything that you can think of from a first aid standpoint, we offer. We've been in business, as you can see on the slide, we've been in business since 1957 continuously. We've been a manufacturer, actually, for about the last 30 years. And when I say that we're a manufacturer, we are actually making our own Band-Aid products, we're making our own gauze, in addition to filling the first aid kits. So we have a full-fledged manufacturing facility here in Kansas City where we're making all of this stuff. We do not import. We actually make it domestically. So there's a wide variety of things that we can offer as a result of being an American manufacturer. So we can go on to the next slide there. We do all of our sales are done through distribution. We don't sell anything direct. However, we do have a direct sales force to take care of, and by direct sales force, I mean people that work directly for Certified Safety that take care of a good chunk of our accounts. So Larry Smith is actually our bus specialist, and he is on the phone call as well today. And we can go on to the next slide there, Gina.
Okay.
So when we talk about anything that's outside of the realm of buses, you know, for the buses, you guys have basically a national standard or state-specific standards that determine what needs to be in the school bus kits. Well, from the standpoint of the shops and schools and job sites or construction sites, everything is determined by OSHA on what you're looking for to have in your first aid kits. But the trick with that is that OSHA doesn't necessarily have any standards that they put forth that are requirements. Instead, what they do is they refer you back to the ANSI standard, which is what we're looking at right here. And the ANSI standard is very simple. It's a very simple fill. But the trick is sometimes even though you meet the ANSI standard for first aid supplies, it's not going to be enough to satisfy an OSHA inspection or an OSHA inspector. So your responsibility, or the end user's responsibility, is to have the correct first aid supplies on site, even though they may not know exactly what those correct first aid supplies that they're supposed to have are. That makes sense. And we can jump forward here. So each work environment is expected, that's basically what this says, each work environment is expected that they'll have the required items, and they'll be supplemented with other products that they may require for each individual work site. So, for example, if you're selling to a shop, ideally they're going to have additional burn products that go along with their first aid kits and cabinets, and in addition to the bloodborne pathogen products that they're going to have. So burn products, eye wash, so on and so forth. If we can jump forward here. So to be in compliance, it's got to have the requirement, and like I said, the requirement's really basic. It's virtually any first aid kit you're going to purchase from us is going to meet the ANSI standard and the ANSI requirement. So if we can go forward. They got to be readily available. That means that the first aid products cannot be locked up anywhere. They've got to be out and where employees can access them. So that's the reason that a lot of times you'll see the first aid cabinets or the first aid kits that are hung on the wall, because they got to be right there where the employees can get to them. Yep, forward. And actually we can go on through this one too, Gina. This just basically talks about multiple applications that you're going to have for it, and the, unique and changing first aids depending on their work environment, which we've talked about. So we can go forward here too. So, in addition to the first aid kits and first aid cabinets, you also are required by law to have a bloodborne pathogen kit on site, anywhere where you might have an injury where somebody's going to be exposed to blood of some sort, blood or any other type of bodily fluid. Now, these are different kits than what we provide to you guys for the buses. The buses have what we classify as a body fluid cleanup kit, whereas a bloodborne pathogen kit actually has PPE equipment involved in it as well. So you're going to have, in addition to the gloves, you're also going to have an impervious gown, you're going to have a mask, goggles, so forth and so on. Bloodborne pathogen kits are very important. As everybody knows, we've got this Ebola thing that's going on right now, which that's a big thing that people are zeroing in on, or making sure that they have things to protect you from blood spill. A story that I always tell is I had a large contractor in the state of California that we sold through we've always sold through distribution. And for years and years, we would try to get them to carry bloodborne pathogen kits and have them on the job site. They never wanted to do it. Well, they had an injury on the job site. A guy fell down a flight of stairs, cut his knee up. Another guy came and helped him and bandaged him up. Well, 6 months later, the guy that helped him ended up coming down with hepatitis C, right? So one large lawsuit later, we ended up selling that contractor through distribution several hundred bloodborne pathogen kits. A lot of times when it comes to first aid products and first aid supplies and bloodborne pathogen supplies, your customers will have to have an action in order to get them to realize that they need this product on site. Even though it's required by law, a lot of times these guys aren't going to do it until they have a real reason to do it.
Wow.
So we can jump on to the next slide. And again, this is just more explanation of what happens with the bloodborne pathogen kit. It just breaks down the individual items. Our bloodborne pathogen kits, any of them are going to meet, ANSI standard and any type of OSHA requirement. We can jump ahead. Okay, so there are two separate types of first aid kits that we sell. We sell the unitized first aid kits, which are what's common in the school buses. You guys have all seen the individual units that go in those kits. I'm certain of it. It's the other type of kit that we sell are bulk kits, and these are kits that are going to be 10-man, 25-man, 50-man kits, really all the way up to 250-person kits. And those are the 250-person are going to be the larger cabinets that you would hang on your wall. There is no standard that basically says that a kit is a 10-man, a 25-man, or a 50-man kit. It's just basically something that's spun out of the safety industry over the last 20 years that gives us kind of a guideline on what people are looking for in a 10-man, 25-man, or 50-man kit. Listen, if you had 25 people get injured, what we classify as a 25-man first aid kit is not going to be sufficient, but yet it still gives you kind of the gist of what you're going to have in one of those kits, if that makes sense. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay.
I'm good.
Next slide. So here's an example of the bloodborne pathogen kit. Like I said before, you guys, I'm sure, have seen the body fluid kits that you have on your buses. Those are going to be, the body fluid kit doesn't have these personal protection equipment that you're going to see on this. The eye mask, the eye shield, some of the gown and cap, mouth-to-mouth barrier. Those are all bloodborne pathogen required items. Okay, we can jump forward. So here's an example of a 25-man first aid kit that you can see off to the right here. That, again, just gives you kind of an idea of what you're going to see in a 25-man kit. We classify it as a bulk filled first aid kit, but we do utilize units for these kits. The top portion here is where you can see actually straight unitized items in a unitized first aid kit. And we can go on forward, Dina. Again, these are 25-man kits, bulk type filled first aid kits. In addition to these and any of these standardized kits that we're talking about, we also have kits that are market specific. So I have a shop kit that we offer. We offer a mechanics first aid kit. We offer burn kits. These are kits that are tailored specifically to that type of industry. They have additional burn products in it. They may have additional eye wash. A mechanics kit might have more knuckle and fingertip bandages than you would find in a standard 25-person first aid kit. So, like I said, they're just more tailored towards specific industry. You can go forward there, Gina. We also have sport kits that you would find. I know you guys are calling on the school market to a large degree. Sport kits are an important portion for that. On this slide, you can see that we have various sizes of cabinets. We have 2-shelf, 3-shelf, 4-shelf first aid cabinets. We have them that have medicinals. We have them that do not have medicinals. We have several different options for you in cabinets. A lot of times you're going to see these cabinets, as I said before, hanging on the wall in the shops. Now here's the thing. Most of your customers are already purchasing this first aid from somebody. More often than not, what they're doing in shops, they're having the same companies, be it a Centos or American Linen or Z Medical even, companies that will come through and take care of your rugs and your uniforms and things like that. They're also taking care of the first aid products and refilling the cabinets while they're there. Now, the advantage that you're going to be able to offer your customers over what they're getting from a van service is really threefold. First, you're going to be able to offer them control over the supplies that are going into these first aid cabinets. A lot of times these van drivers will come through, they'll fill them with whatever they see fit, and then they'll bill the customer for it without the customer having actually any say of what goes in it. The second thing is that you're going to be able to provide them with definite cost savings. So let's say hypothetically a 100-count box of Band-Aids is $2.50. Your guys' cost from Bluebird when you bring it in, or $2.50 or $3 somewhere in there, right? That product is going into a cabinet when a service fills the cabinet. It's going into the cabinet for about $10 a box. So you guys are going to be able to make a really, really good margin on these individual product refills and still be able to undercut these services that are coming through and taking care of them on that stuff. So it's a definite advantage, no question. And we can tailor these different cabinets to make them fit what your customer is looking for. We can jump on to the next slide there.
And Danny, as a reminder for those out there, the logos that many of our dealers are already providing to Certified Safety, Certified Safety can add the logos onto the cabinets. It's just not restricted to the first aid kits and the body fluid kits. So you can,
correct.
The end users can.
Any of the kits that we sell, we can logo them for you. It's a very inexpensive one-time setup fee of $30 per kit size and $60 per cabinet size. And then after that, on a one-color logo, there's no additional cost associated for you all. It's something that you can provide to them. So let's say you sell a cabinet to go up on a wall, and you want your all's contact information put on that cabinet so they know who to call for refills. That's an advantage to having it. We can also do logos for your customers, for your end users, if they want to have, for example, we've logoed first aid kits before that say stolen from XYZ company or something along those lines, just something that's going to personalize it for them so that they have ownership of the cabinet. A lot of times these van services that we were talking about earlier, when they come through and hang a cabinet on your customer's wall, they're not selling them the cabinet. They're basically leasing them the cabinet and then charging them for the products that they put inside the cabinet, right? In this instance, when you all sell this cabinet, your customer is going to own it, right? They're going to have all the control over it. They're not going to have somebody coming through that's giving them product that they don't necessarily need. Right here, you see an example of a burn relief series. Again, as I was talking earlier, we have kits that are specific to various industries and various applications. The burn relief products are obviously important when you're talking about a shop-type environment. We use primarily water gel products in our burn kits. It's not something that we manufacture, but they are also a U.S. manufacturer. And they do a lot of private label work for us on some of our creams and ointments. But if you guys haven't ever seen this product, it's pretty impressive. These are basically saturated gel pads. They're inside this foil packet, and these gels or these gauze pads are basically infused with the gel and saturated with the gel. And you put these burn dressings directly over a burn wound, and it automatically or instantaneously takes the heat directly out of that wound. So if you're getting ready to blister, this is going to do something to help you keep from getting blisters from a burn. Water gel, when they do their presentation on this particular product, just to give you an idea of how much heat it can actually pull out of a wound, they'll wrap this around their arm, and then they'll take a blowtorch and actually put the blowtorch right up to the gauze pads, and no heat gets through to the arm. It's a really, really impressive product, and we utilize it in all of our burn type kits. We can move forward there, Tina.
Okay.
In addition to first aid kits, bloodborne pathogen kits, etc., we also have a full line of safety posters. A lot of these postings are required by law to be posted in the work spot. So we offer, first aid posters, bloodborne pathogen posters, heat stress posters, forklift safety posters, basically anything that you can think of that has to do with the poster we have. That's including, and if we can jump forward here, that's including labor law posters, so federal and state postings that you have to have in regards to minimum wage, things like that. We offer those as well. So we have them state-specific for every individual state, and then also the federal postings. Again, these are required by law, as I'm sure you all know. And if you go to purchase these on the internet, or if your customer goes to buy these on the internet, they're going to pay anywhere between $39 and $49 per set, whereas your cost from Certified Safety is going to be under $20. So again, this is something that's a very, very simple item that actually occasionally will be repeat purchases throughout the year if there's any state changes. And it's a nice margin for you all to make on something, a very, very simple product to carry and sell. And if we could jump forward. On this page, you see we also carry AEDs. AEDs are becoming more and more prevalent. I'm sure you all know. They're not required to have on any job sites, but I think as we move forward, they're going to end up being. I told the group this morning that the most impressive presentation I've ever seen on AED and defibrillator product was in a meeting, and the guy came in and he set a Philips brand AED down on the table, and he said, okay, if anybody in this room were to have a heart attack, right now they would have a survival chance of 96%, right? And then he grabbed the AED and he walked out of the room, and he came back and he said, okay, now I'm in here and we don't have an AED. But if anybody in this room has a heart attack, right now they have a survival chance of 7%. So that's a big swing, and AEDs, as they get more and more commonplace, eventually I suspect that they are going to end up being a requirement. And a lot of these shops that you guys might call on or sell to already have AEDs, or if they don't, they should have. Let's jump forward there, Dina.
Okay.
Again, these are just more examples of some kits that we have. Cal OSHA is, over there to the right. That's specific for OSHA. Again, there's another image of the bloodborne pathogen kit. We can jump forward, Dina. This is our road series of first aid kit, which, as you can see, has a few different type items in it. One of the items that's in this kit that I don't know if we talked about, in fact, I'm sure we didn't talk about this morning, is a product that we call Save-A-Tube. This is a big item for the schools right now. It's actually on the U.S. Department of Education's recommended products for every school nurse to have. What it is, basically, if you get your tooth knocked out on the playground or playing football or baseball or however it could happen where you get your tooth knocked out, you actually only have 15 minutes before that tooth is dead and cannot be reinserted into the mouth. With this product, it's a jar. You basically take the top off of this jar and then you drop the tooth inside of it. It's like a little, like a ring cleaner case almost that's inside of it. But there's a preservative in there that'll keep that tooth alive for up to 24 hours, at a bare minimum of 24 hours. So you have plenty of time to get to the dentist and actually get that tooth reimplanted. This is really important for schools, mainly because if a kid gets their tooth knocked out, they can't even get a permanent bridge until they're 21 years old or their face stops growing. So this is an item that's a very inexpensive item that could save potentially thousands upon thousands of dollars for parents and for the school system and school district. So it's an item that I would think would be a really, really good fit for you guys too. So if we can jump forward here.
Okay.
This is our survival bag. Again, if you live somewhere where you have a chance for hurricanes or earthquakes or anything else, you know that these are pretty common. We have a lot of customers that will purchase these and do giveaway type things with them, or sell them to their employees so that they can take them home and use them at home. But it's a very good product. We can jump forward there. These are our safety award kits off to the right. That's an example. There you go.
Yeah.
The products that a lot of times companies will purchase and they'll give their employees or hand out to their employees from a safety standpoint. If they've gone X amount of days without an injury on the site or in the shop or wherever it is. And then up at the top there, that's our breast cancer awareness kit. We sell a lot of those this time of year. Primarily they're again, giveaway type things, but we actually give 40% of all the profits to Susan Coleman. We can jump forward there again. This is not. We can jump through this slide too, Gina.
Okay.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that Certified Safety, we manufacture everything in the U.S. This is important in addition to the altruism that goes with buying from an American-made company. It's important because it means that we're FDA regulated, all right? So a Type 1 medical device, when it's manufactured overseas and is imported in the United States, it's not required to be inspected by the FDA whatsoever. If you manufacture it domestically, however, basically the FDA is going to come at least once a year and check us out, make sure that we're following good manufacturing practices. They check our clean room. They check everything down to the color in which we sign our return goods authorization. They really, really keep a close eye on American manufacturers. Certified Safety, we are the only U.S. manufacturer of these types of products. Even Johnson & Johnson doesn't make Band-Aids domestically anymore. We're the only ones that are making them in the U.S. So you are certainly buying from an American-made company. 90% of everything that we sell is actually manufactured in our facility in Kansas City. The rest of it is bought in from other U.S. suppliers. Certified Safety is a woman-owned business, legitimately woman-owned business. Gina knows Pam, and Pam is very, very involved in every aspect of our operation. We mentioned earlier the custom logoing, which is, obviously something that we can offer to everybody. We also do a lot of customization on the first aid kits. So if you have customers that have something specific that they are looking for, we can tailor a kit for their needs. Now, we don't ask for a lot of, you don't have to buy a ton of kits. We usually try to keep you in case quantities, so, we keep our case quantities small. So if it's 10 kits, that's great. We'll fill 10 kits for them. State compliant is the biggest terminology that you need to use with your customers. They all understand that. They understand that, they can receive OSHA fines at any point in time, and that staying compliant is an important part of what they do. So you can jump forward there, Gina. And really, that is getting close to it. Again, these next slides are just going to show you some other examples of some products that we have. Some of them you've seen already. But I guess the biggest takeaway that I have for you guys is that all of your customers are buying these products from somebody right now, and if they're not, they should be by law. So it's an excellent opportunity for you. I'm ashamed that really over the course of the 20 years that we've been doing business with Bluebird, that this isn't an avenue that we've explored before. And I think it's an opportunity for you guys to make some additional money and, a way for us to grow our business together. So are there any questions?
If there's no questions, I would like to reiterate what Danny said. As far as the logos, take advantage of that, putting your company logo on there, callback numbers on the products. I think that's a great way. To my knowledge right now, I think they are the one supply partner that offers this service, and it is one way to get your customers to have your name and number right in front of their face at all times, not only for their product, but an easy way for advertisement for them to pick up the phone and call you and have them thinking about you when they need parts and service in every form and matter. So I encourage you to order their product, have them sitting there in front of them at all points, not only on the bus, but in their first aid kits, sitting there in their office. There were some other ideas that Pam and Larry and Danny suggested. There's giveaway items that they have, doing mechanic shows, trade shows, state shows. You can have your logo put on there. Order those. Handouts for customers when you're calling on them. Other great ideas.
Yeah, it's a small first aid kit that actually looks like a Band-Aid.
Yep.
It's a two-piece plastic Band-Aid essentially that you open up, and it's got individual first aid supplies in it. And yeah, you can screen print. It's very cost effective. It's cheaper than the pens or anything else that you might give out. And you can have all of your contact information screen printed on the bottom of it and leave it behind as a call-in card. It's a very good product to use for that type of thing. The other thing that we're doing for you guys that we should have available in pretty short order is we've put together a flyer that is specific for you guys that really kind of dials down the products that we feel like you'll have the best opportunity to sell to your customers. It's based for the school market and also for shops and mechanics and things like that. And then additionally, we're doing, actually, Gina, I was told after we got off the phone earlier, we're doing a catalog that's specific to the bus industry. So it's going to have, in addition to all of the bus kits, it's also everything else that we think would be a pretty good fit for you guys on every type of customer that you're calling on. And again, we should have those available for you in pretty short order.
Yep, and as soon as we do, we'll make sure all of those are sent out to all the dealers. So if there's no follow-up questions, or if you do, please get in contact. I can get you in contact with Larry and Danny immediately, or I'd be happy to answer any questions available. But again, Danny, Larry, we appreciate the continued support, and I wish everybody a great afternoon.
Sure. Hey, let me add, can I add one more thing, Gina?
Sure.
If you do have any questions, anytime you call Certified Safety, you're going to get a live person answering the phone. And our customer service team is top-notch. They've all been doing it for a lot of years now. They all know exactly how to answer the questions that you guys might have. And yeah, we're happy to help you guys out in any way that we possibly can.
Super. We appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. Thank you, everyone.